Internet! Welcome to 2.5 Brains. This is our latest episode of Survivor. Survivor Season 42, Episode 6. We're breaking it all down, talking all about it. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything. Like our Facebook page, Paper Mill Productions on Facebook. Email the show directly, papermillproductions@gmail.com. Also, you can subscribe right there and share the post, tell your friends as we do what we do. So, a lot going on this week. Very, very busy week. We had a politics show come out just a little bit ago. We have this show. We have at least one sports show coming up here as well. It's already been done, so by the time you listen to this, it'll probably be out or right around that same time it'll be out. So much going on this week. So much to talk about. A 2-hour episode of Survivor. Only one person goes out with 2 hours, which we'll talk about. And we'll break it all down and talk all about it here in just a minute. We do have a guest this week as well, which I'm really excited about. Finally, a guest back on the show. We have Selena. You may hear her. You may hear Bailey. He'll probably just sit there and stare at us like, what are you doing? You probably won't actually say anything. And we have Jessica back on the show as well. Jessica watched this episode this week, and she's back. She's been watching the season kind of in the background, not as as active as she was last year, I guess. But did want to come on here and share some thoughts. And I paid her enough money to come on, so she came on. Jessica, welcome back to the show. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm the most important person on the show.
Most definitely. The smartest one. The 2.5 brains. Between the dog, the cat, and me, we have a half. So we have Jessica with the 2 to keep us on track. So Jessica been.
How you succeeded without me?
I don't know. I didn't probably. The ratings are in the toilet. I've less people watch my show than watch Brian Stelter, which is bad. But anyways, so let's talk about it. Let's dive in here. Jessica been with me for the sports show as well, so you've heard her. If you haven't yet, you will, depending on which one comes out in which order. This one's gonna be a little bit shorter than that one, so this one might be out first. But either way, Jessica, how you doing? How you feeling about the season overall? Give me a couple quick thoughts about the season overall.
I guess simple might be a word I bring. Nothing insane. I guess enjoyable for me then, because after last season, I'm looking for something a little bit low key, predictable, because it's a lot of the stuff from last season. It's been fine. I do enjoy pretty much most of the people on this season, though, so it's been a lot easier to watch. And let's be honest, I watched every single one with you, just haven't been up to talking much about it.
Yeah, and last season kind of broke you, so this one we're kind of reeling you back in a little bit, with a better show. And one thing I mentioned too is there's no all certain color or certain race alliances this season, which is good. People are seeing each other as people and allies, and they're treating each other well.
Like you're supposed to.
Right, and they're treating each other well. Exactly. They're not being. They're not focusing on things that are immutable. Let's say they're focusing on the things that matter. So
the good of other people.
For sure, and there's a lot.
It's bad.
Right. Either way, and there's been a lot of stuff with the players in the game. It hasn't been a lot of major twists. I mean, there's been a lot of producer interference again, which we'll talk about, but it hasn't been a lot of whoever's been predictable, or whoever's been the boot has gone out for the most part, right? It hasn't been anything shocking that this person went out. I mean, this episode was probably the one that was the least.
It was a little shocking.
Yeah.
It was a little surprising.
This one was the one that was the least predictable the whole season, probably.
Yeah. And it's not even the person, I guess, that went out, because you kind of figured, but it's who actually voted for them. But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, for sure. No, I agree. 100% agree. So it's fun. This was a 2-hour episode, but it wasn't 2 episodes really. It was still just one. There's just one 2-hour episode. Mm-hmm. So usually the merge is around episode 7. This one was the second half of 6. So I guess whatever. But either way, we'll talk about it here. It was just a 2-hour episode though. So instead of doing the 4 moments that mattered and all this stuff, I'm just gonna still do 3 moments that mattered, and just pick them out of the 2 hours, and then we'll do who did not survive and why. and then the top 3 and bottom 3 when all is said and done. Now that the merge has officially happened.
Even if you wanted to, I don't think you could pick more than 3 moments that mattered.
Correct. It was a lot. It was a lot of talking and building. Players getting to meet each other for the first time, and and building those bonds. And that was pretty much a whole hour. First hour was for the most part.
Yeah.
Between who officially made the merge, who did not officially yet make the merge, and then Roxroy living on his own. But we'll talk about that. So, let's go ahead and dive in here. We'll start with Jessica. Start with 3 moments that mattered. Moment number 1.
Your favorite, the sorta merge.
Ugh.
Where Jeffrey says, you're not on a tribe yet, even though everybody's gonna be on that tribe. I don't understand the whole point. Like, the thinking to me is, even if your team, will say, because you're splitting up into teams, loses, you're still eventually gonna get on that tribe, I guess, after tribal. But whatever. So they had to play, win food, get some Applebee's, and I guess if you're starving, that's exciting. And then, then more comes after that, but we'll do that. We'll talk about that on the number 2.
Yeah, it's not. So Applebee's, yes. If you're starving on an island and there's nothing else to eat, like you can't eat dung, I guess Applebee's is fine.
It's fine,
Yeah.
and you don't even get to pick what you want. Like, everybody gets a burger. I want chicken wonton tacos or something.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
And the reason, and Jeff said this is huge because it's Applebee's. I'm like, huge for your sponsorship.
Yeah, I
You
know.
clown.
Then what commercial came on right after?
Immediately, it was Applebee's.
Applebee's.
Obviously.
Simply irresistible.
Yeah, it was just
Bowl.
bowl, exactly. Just silly.
Their bowls look good, though. So why didn't they have those on the actual episode?
Well, so Outback, right? Well, these have Outback Steakhouse used to be a big sponsor. It used to be, the family restaurant was Outback years ago, and Sandra was all over it, right? She was talking about how she loved Outback, blah blah blah, and they never gave her even a gift certificate to go. So she said, "Screw Outback," which
It should still be Outback. I mean, I would want a steak. I want that protein or chicken.
Yeah.
I don't want ground beef. I feel like ground beef is really greasy and like it's maybe satisfying to eat, but something that's going to help you later on. And I guess, they felt bad after last season. Instead of giving you just fruit, they decided to actually give something, I guess, worthwhile. But I'm not a chain person.
Yeah,
so.
no, for sure. So they had the merge, and it reminds me a little bit. Like I said, when I'm doing these shows, I try to incorporate the previous seasons. Of course, this one is a carbon copy of last season, so I'm not going to talk about all that.
Yeah.
But maybe the one of the most screwed players in the history of Survivor was Michelle Yee, who's most famous for falling. She was the caller and one of the blindfold challenges, and she'd jump up and down. She'd fall off the stage, and like under her head, which was hilarious. But they had a merge. They merged into 2 tribes.
Yep.
Or they merged into 2 tribes, and then they did a vote, and then they unmerged. And it was like, it was the first time they ever done that. It was like a fake merge. It was just stupid.
Really dumb.
In this season, you have to earn your right onto the merge. You did by surviving the first 6 votes. What are you talking about?
I mean, you're there. You're gonna be there. I mean, I guess if you get voted out, then you're gone anyways, so it doesn't matter.
It's absolutely
That's why I don't
idiotic.
understand that.
It's so stupid. So stupid. Like I said, they've done so many stupid things the last few seasons, and like, it's just like, you got to earn your way in the merge. So surviving the first 6 votes isn't earning your, like, how players in the past earned their way in the merge?
Right.
By not getting voted out before the merge.
Yeah. I mean, at least with this one, he explained the
twist a little bit.
twist more.
Yeah.
But he didn't say exactly what the twist was. But he, it's funny because everybody kept saying, like, he pointed. He's like, it's really, big. It's powerful. But people are just like, meh. They obviously didn't believe him. But again, I guess that's number 2.
Wait, we'll get to that in here. It is number 2 for sure. It's definitely a dookie. It's definitely a dookie. So they had 12 people there. They said pick a rocks. 5 will be on one team, 5 on the other team, 2 will be left out, and then the 2 that get left out, they have to just wait and see. The 2 that are left out were Lindsay and Roxroy.
Yep.
And then the winning tribe got to pick who went with them, and then who went to exile.
Right.
Or they could take one themselves out and go to exile.
Right. And everybody taking a rock. Hope they had the same color as Jonathan. Let's be honest.
Right. And Jonathan's team, of course, won. Just because he basically.
He's a beast.
Yeah, they had to take a big boulder out of a.
Let me try and push it real quick, and he just pushes. Everybody come help. Barely needed any help.
Right.
They're done.
He's
Barely had to dig.
He's a monster.
I love him though,
Yeah.
and
Everybody
I
does.
usually don't like people like that, but he's awesome.
Right, everybody does. He's very, very much a fan favorite. And the fans a lot of times like the big, strong dudes. I'm not a fan of the big, strong dudes. Omer, like you said, you aren't. But he's got a good ally with Omer, and it's one of those things where it's definitely the Steven and JT of it, because usually it's the brain that the brain is usually the one that, is, at least in modern Survivor, when it's Ken and David and Adam, or David and Ken, right? Ken's the big strong guy who wins all the challenges. David's the one who's strategic. Everybody likes David. Nobody really likes Ken. Right. But like back in Steven and JT days, it was JT was the charismatic, good old boy, and Steven was the strategist. And they're like, Steven, you're lying. You're making moves. Blah blah blah. JT just hanging out. Well, right, and that's how you play the game, right? And JT was not smart enough to make moves. He played twice without it with Steven and made stupid moves both times, and cost out the game both times. So, I'll be interested. I think in this case, though, if it came down to it right now, it's Omar versus JT, Omar versus Jonathan. Who gets the vote? Do you think?
The votes to
win,
vote to win, probably Omar.
You think so?
I don't know. Jonathan's a likable one, but as we saw in this episode that we'll talk about after, Omar did a lot of,
politicking.
Yeah, politicking. I'm trying to think of the word, going to every single person, every single group, orchestrated a lot of stuff. So it's kind of hard now, but I can make an argument for both. Jonathan's likable. He takes care of everyone. He's not the typical meathead, and that's why I do like him, because he's not like I can lift heavy things. He's always like, let me get everybody food, let's, everybody kumbaya and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He's a surfer dude, kind of, bulky guy.
I think Jonathan will get the votes because he's so likable.
I know.
Omar's got the strategy, but I think if it came down to it, people would have a hard time voting against Jonathan to win if you get to that.
Yeah.
That's all.
I know.
But we'll talk about that in a minute here. Let's go ahead and we'll talk about the next part here. But I want to say, do you remember who was on each side?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So is Jonathan, Lydia, Tori, Marianne. I think that was it for them.
Marianne, yep. And then the two left out were.
Yeah, and then it was Roxroy and Lindsay that were left out, and then it was Chanel.
Drea,
Mike,
Romeo.
Yep, and Omar.
Correct. Yep. So Jonathan's team obviously wins, and then they send out Roxroy to Exile Island for 2 days, and he has to build his own shelter and do all his own stuff. Right. And we'll talk about that next, as he had a decision to make, same one that Erica did. He didn't know about it until later on. He found the hourglass. That's interesting.
Just Jeff onto it.
Jeff came up and said, "Here's what you gotta do: smash it or keep it."
Right. Yeah.
Reverse history, or let it stay the same.
Right. So the discussion though, they wanted to bring Lindsay for food because she looked like she really needed to eat, and then they sent Roxroy, which was the wrong decision, and we're going to talk about that because I think it should have been flipped, even though I know you want to, let the girl eat and help her. If they knew what it was all about, they wouldn't have done that. Now,
here's my only question. Let's say the person goes to exile, and the other person, let's say the other person stays, right? Roxroy, stays and eats, and now there's six there and five who aren't there, and then one on exile. First on exile, did they give up also joining the merge?
What do you mean?
Because the six who were there, right? So it was Lindsay got to join the merge with the other five. So if they then take one of those five out and replace it with Roxroy joins them. That person now has to compete in the immunity challenge.
Yeah, whoever's on exile, if they don't reverse time, they have to compete. They're not safe.
Right.
But if they do it, then they're safe with the other ones.
Right. So
that's why it's
a huge
always
disincentive.
I need to do that, but you want to think you're going to earn those points with everybody that you didn't screw, and that they're going to save you.
Right.
That's your leverage to be like, listen, I kept you guys in here, please. And the thing was, though, what he didn't know, but what we knew, is that they planned on keeping him anyways. They said that he would be good for their group.
He didn't know, right? But
that's why it is. It's all we see it, and they don't see it.
Yeah, and I guess it's too powerful either way, which I'm gonna kind of want to go into how it's stupid. It's too powerful because if you, let's say you're Jonathan. Jonathan's saying he was debating if he was just gonna go himself. But let's say now you're not in the merge. Now you have to compete in the immunity challenge. If you could have still, let's say you go there, you're not only are you giving up the food, you're giving up immunity.
Yeah, and
And now you have
just
to compete in the
kinda
challenge.
Giving yourself a bunch of crap.
Right.
that-
And you put yourself through hell for a 1 in 6 shot of going home.
And that's why
And then you have to compete for immunity to it's just like it.
it's too powerful of a thing to decide.
Right. And you're giving up, like, it's either.
And it's predictable because who isn't going to choose
Sure.
it?
But I guess my point with Jonathan is why would or anybody,
Mm-hmm.
why would you give up immunity to maybe make an ally? Like, it's stupid. I mean, like, it. I get why they would, because, you're keeping the control of the game and blah blah blah. But you either go there, you don't reverse history, and now you're the 6 people you won the challenge for have immunity. And now you have to compete again for immunity after being sleeping on the ground and not eating for 2 days.
Right.
Or you take the 6 people who help get everything. You take the 2 people who are sitting out, give them immunity, take immunity away from yourself, and then you have to compete. It's like, that's way too much.
Right.
There's no reason for anybody to step out in that case.
Yeah. So at this point, let's just go into
Yeah.
number 2 because we're kind of already talking about it.
Yeah.
So moment that matter number 2 is integrity. Lol. LOL. So basically, after what you're saying with that stuff, and Roxroy is very much you earn it. He said basically on there too, like, no participation trophies for his kids and like stuff like that. So what we both talked about is what I'm hoping he would go with is he wouldn't actually reverse time because they didn't earn it. So you're doing that, you're taking it away from people that actually earned what they got and giving it to other people who don't deserve it. But wrapping in what we just talked about, why would he do that to himself? He's safe now if he reverses time and makes them safe and himself safe and they have to compete. Also, the argument that everybody makes every single time is the people that ate have more energy now so they can compete and they have better stamina for the challenge. To which I say, you're going to eat all that food and then you're going to feel like crud. So
Yeah.
it
You can say
doesn't
crap, you
always
can say
help.
You can say crap or shit.
Crap, shit, poopy head.
So the biggest reason I think there's one reason that was Paramount Plus. Yeah. One reason that was paramount over all the other reasons that Roxroy decided to reverse history.
Yeah, which is the integrity part that I knew he was going to do it. You can say it. Because Tori was on the winning team and he absolutely hates her. And this past episode makes me not like her too because she's so persistent and she was with him and that's why we saw it. If someone doesn't want to answer, like, stop asking questions. For someone that is a therapist, should know how to talk to people and know how to get information out of them. But if you are persistent like that, no one's going to tell you jack shit.
She's very bullheaded. There's a lot of very bullheaded people in this season. She reminded me so much of like the 3rd episode of Millennials versus Gen X, when the whole, I think I kind of talked about it before, but when Mari Takahashi got voted out, the video gamer, she got voted out because Michelle went to Hannah, and Michelle Schubert went to Hannah, and she's like, hey, vote for Mari. And Hannah was literally in the voting booth for like 45 minutes deciding who to vote for. She'd run through the numbers in her head. Jeff had to check on her like twice, make sure she was still there. Like, and she couldn't. So then at the end of it, she had an alliance with Zeke and Adam and a couple of people and Mari. She ended up flipping on them to go and join the cool kids. And Zeke and Adam were pissed.
I'm sure that bit her in the butt at some point.
Sort of. But she was Zeke and Adam were pissed, and she's like, "Can I explain why I did it?" They're like, "No, tomorrow. We're raw right now. We don't want to talk right now. We're just angry. Like, leave us alone. Let us talk. We'll talk about it tomorrow." She goes, "Okay, but real quick before I go to bed." And they're like, "No, Hannah, tomorrow." And like they were wrong too because she just screwed you. At least hear her out.
Yeah.
But she's wrong for not letting them calm down.
At the same time, it's both things. Like, the
Right.
people that get hurt have every right to say that they don't want to talk right now. Like, they need time. The other person wants to get off their chest because they want to make themselves feel better, but it's not going to make the other person feel better. So that you can't do that.
Right. And, I said it then when I talked about it. I said, you may not get another chance to talk to the person who screwed you over. They may say, okay, well, you don't want to talk now, screw you. But if you're a good player, like Hannah really wasn't, understanding that they don't want to talk right now, come back when they're ready to talk. Because all you're doing is pushing and pushing and pushing.
And annoying, and they don't want to talk to you.
And it makes it worse.
Yep.
And they both end up aligning with her later anyways, but still. It was a whole big thing. It was a great season. But that's Tori's problem for sure. And we'll talk about that. But I think that's the biggest thing. One of the biggest reasons Rockford decided to reverse time is because he wanted to screw Tori.
Yeah, and he didn't say it, but we all kind of know that.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's just so tempting, and it's like the way the episode is set up. It's like they're not gonna not do it because the person's sitting there, and they have the thing in their hand. Well, they put it down, walk away, and that's like how you transition to the next episode. Like
Right.
the transition point is that when they break the thing.
Right.
That's when the transition point of the beats of the episode happen.
Yeah,
So.
I wonder if what they would do if someone really didn't, because I feel like they did this because they know every single person is going to do it. It's the Pandora's box. You're going to open the box. You want to see what's inside there.
100%. 100%.
So.
And like I said, I mean, you're to give up, like if you're that person, if you're confident that you can win the immunity, like they should be out of it no matter what. Like the only reason anybody maybe wouldn't do it is if they're like, hey, if you reverse history, like let's say if you reverse history, you have to compete now or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you reverse history, you have to compete. Or I don't know, or either way you're safe. Either way you're with the immune tribe.
I feel like the person, that there should be safe because they have everybody else's life in their hands, basically. So it's like either you save your allies or you make new ones versus who's on whatever side.
And because all they're doing is saving themselves, and everybody's self-motivated, right? Everybody's gonna do what's best for them.
Right.
So of course they're gonna reverse history. That's what they want, anyways. That's what they want the drama, anyways. Of course,
know.
but and then also the fact that you're like there's no time in Survivor history where you can take immunity from 5 people and give it to 5 other people.
Right.
Like you can maybe play an idol on one other person or win immunity for yourself, but you can't give immunity to 5 people. That's insane. Like if you're gonna do that, reverse history and take like 3 people from there and give immunity, or something. Pick out 3 people to give immunity to,
Right.
or 2 people or something. Right. But like that's way too powerful, and it's whoever goes out at this tribal is screwed. They get screwed. Sydney got screwed last season. I think the person I voted out this season got screwed as well. It's drama. It's a twist. You have to anticipate all the twists. But like, how can you? I mean, Drea did, I guess. But how can you anticipate something like this?
Yeah.
It's just, it's way too much. I hate it. I hate it so much. It's maybe my least favorite twist, including the fire making twist. The fire making twist I hate. This one's probably worse.
I like fire making. I don't like this.
This one's horrible. Horrible twist.
Yeah.
Way too much producer interference. You're trying to add drama where there doesn't need to be. And in a season where there's any drama, I guess it's good to have a little bit. But come on.
There's always enough drama between people, though, because if you focus on the people and how they get along and everything, you'll get the freaking drama.
For sure. Way too much producer interference. And again, there's been a lot of straightforward votes and everything like that. I get that. But like, I don't know. Just too much. Too much.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's go ahead and talk about the moment that mattered, number 3.
A short-lived 8.
So tell me about that.
So there was an alliance of 8 that basically joined up once the unmerge, pre-merge, whatever merge you want to call it is. So it was Jonathan, Hai, Lydia, Omer, Lindsay, Roxroy, was Drea, I think, a part
Drea
of
and
that
Romeo.
one? And Romeo. Romeo's part of it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's her number 1.
Okay. So they formed to protect each other, of course, and finding out, it got flipped, who got saved, who didn't get saved. So most of the alliance was on the unprotected tribe. So basically whoever got saved, whoever won immunity was fine. But of course, no one in that actual 8 won immunity. So they all had to scramble to vote for each other to vote out for this week.
Yeah, so, and I mean, if you're looking at it, for Roxroy's perspective, he took the immunity away from Tori, in essence, and gave it to Drea and Romeo, which are his 2, allies.
Yeah.
So, even though he didn't vote with them last tribal, which was whatever. But, so...
Not knowing he was counted in the 8 other people on the other side.
Right. So, either way, it really didn't matter. All it did was decide... It really... And honestly, if he would have not reversed time, I bet you Shan's gone. And...
Shan.
Chanel. I always call her Shan.
That's last season.
Yeah, Chanel. I bet you Chanel's gone.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
And that 8 is still intact if he doesn't reverse history.
Right.
So...
It would have been fine. They would have protected... It was much easier to protect the 3 than try to protect all of the other side.
Of course.
And they couldn't, obviously, as we said.
Of course. And the problem, of course, is... Drea's a good challenge. Drea probably would have won that, or, I don't know, Omer, I don't know, somebody.
That one wasn't easy, though. For immunity challenge for that, it wasn't really easy.
No,
I remember they used that... It was the Chris
Chris Underwood, right?
Chris Underwood, yeah, that's how he won immunity, or for the final four, final five.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, so they had an 8, and then the 8, it was like, all right, well, if he reverses, and Drea kind of said he might be able to reverse history, which would be, how she even thought of that was
I didn't know. She said exactly that.
exactly what it was, right? Which is like crazy, and because Jessica kept saying it's a really powerful thing, so maybe she just read between the lines, I guess. But
that's what I was saying before. He hinted so hard that it was powerful, and everybody's just like, it's not. Not knowing what exactly it is and how powerful it is, that they still sent Rockstory because they didn't know what to expect. Breaking stuff there.
yeah, I mean, so I didn't want to sit on the dog. I almost sat on Bailey, that poor little bastard. So yeah,
Butt would have crushed him.
I know, he would have been dead. My huge ginormous rump. Anyways, but yeah, so I mean that's. I don't know. It's fine. I think. I think Chanel wouldn't win immunity. They'd be able to give her but again, he doesn't know that. So how would he know that?
Yeah, he didn't know any of it.
It's just everybody wants to take power and make one move, and Erica made one move last season. It was that one. It was a bad move, and she won the game. So like it's and of course they don't know that either because they didn't see that season. But it's just like, come on,
right?
Come on, terrible. But they had an 8, and then it was all right. Well, if he doesn't reverse history, Chanel goes. If it stays the way it is. If it reverses history, Tori goes. And it's a challenge. It was a challenge.
One would think, except for the immunity challenge.
Well, right. And so then they're stacking they had the one with the spell immunity on the table, stack it up, holding the thing.
Rope.
And who was cruising? Was it Lydia?
Tori.
And Lydia dropped maybe, or who? I don't know. Somebody was. Jonathan was. He dropped. Marianne was close.
Tori was cruising the whole way. I think, Lindsay, was good. But it was Tori that she never dropped once.
Right. And some of the people got pretty high and then dropped.
Mm-hmm.
Ended up being down to Marianne, who's one letter away, and then Tori, and she got back and got on the platform and won the immunity. And that screwed everybody because now the only ones available to be voted out are Lindsay, Marianne, Jonathan, Hai, and Lydia.
And technically Marianne wasn't a part of that 8, but Marianne was in with Romeo, so she was.
Yeah, and Lindsay and them, they're keeping her at arm's length with her. She's like, you can sit at our table on Tuesdays at the Cool Kid table, but not the rest of the week. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how it is. Like you can sit at the Cool Kids table when it's like movie Little Big League. You talk when we tell you to talk. You can sit with the cool kids. We can only talk when we allow you to talk. Anyways. So that's how Marianne is right now.
Yeah.
So, and then of course now it's like, all right, now we have to go for either Marianne or for Tori, but Tori has immunity, and Marianne has an idol that everybody knows about.
Yeah, so all 3 of those idols are in play too now.
Right. So now it's like we can't really vote for Marianne because
unless you make her feel safe, and she definitely felt safe. Obviously, she didn't play anything.
Yeah.
But it's hard, so that's when the scrambling happened with the short-lived 8.
Exactly. So then, going from there, let's talk about who did not survive.
Well, Lydia did not survive.
My daughter, Lydia.
Exactly. And the whole thing we're seeing before. Can I bring up the moment or wait till later?
Good.
So, the shocking thing was Lydia getting voted off, yes, but the most shocking part is Hai made such a strong stance that he is taking her to the end. He will never vote her off. He was going to go to Rocks for her, all this stuff. And then you see at the end of the episode, he voted for her because he went with his alliance instead of protecting his number one. If people find out that he did that, they're going to say, well, why did you make such a big deal about it before? And now you're all of a sudden going to vote her out, so you're going to vote me out.
We'll talk about that a little bit later here. But yeah, he made the decision that he couldn't save her. Mm-hmm. So he decided just to jump on with the numbers. We'll talk about it here a little bit later.
After, but
we'll get to the top 3 bottom 3. But what did Lydia do wrong this week? Or this season to get herself voted out now?
It was naive that she was safe because people around her, like everybody, some people always act like they're safe and they shouldn't feel safe. Everybody has to be a little paranoid with that stuff because she walked around talking to people just like she's in charge with everybody else and saying like, oh, well, we're definitely going to vote this person. And then it's like, oh no, we should vote them out. And I don't know.
I want to talk about the Chanel thing too when I get to that later, because it reminded me a little bit of this too when you said it. But for me, Lydia, yeah, I mean, Marianne, when she heard her name, she started like going crazy, right, a little bit. And, Lindsay's like, well, it's not going to be me. Got to be somebody else, right? And then Tori won the immunity. So you knew the scramble was going to start. Yeah. And I think it bounced back. I think it bounced like 7 times. Like, there's going to be this one, there's going to be this one, there's going to be this one, there's going to be this one. And I think
because Jonathan was thrown out there. Everybody was thrown out there.
I mean, really, everybody.
Jonathan was a really big one that I thought was actually going to happen.
And then Marianne, and then Lydia, but.
And then Omer started fighting for Jonathan not to get voted off. Hai also said, since he's a buff dude like him, like Jonathan doesn't want him off either. So
he wants to meet Shield for sure, right?
Yeah.
And that's I think that's kind of what happened. I think Lydia did 2 minor things wrong. I don't think she did anything really that egregiously wrong.
No.
I think that she really didn't fight as much. At least they didn't show her fighting as much as some of the other people, because she kind of trusted in her ally a little bit, maybe a little bit too much.
Yeah.
But also, too, one thing that people do wrong a lot is ally management, right? So, like, you have an ally. Do you let them do whatever they want, and you don't check on them at all? Because you check on them too much, like for example, Monica Culpepper on Blood vs. Water, she would every day check in with her allies and cry because they're gonna vote her out and be paranoid, and they're like, "We're fine, we're fine, we're fine," and like she'd talk to like the other side, like maybe I'll flip with you,
yeah,
and they're like, "Okay, I'll flip with us," and then she wouldn't, and it would just piss them off because if you're not gonna vote with us, don't pretend to, or don't say you're going to,
yeah,
right? Like she'd be like, "Oh, maybe I will go with you." And then they had hope, and then she took it away, right? And so just like screw them out, but tell them no to their face.
Yeah,
that's better, right? And then that's one way to be an ally. It should be completely, paranoid as hell. Second way to be an ally is we're good. I'm not talking to you for 6 months, and that's bad too, because you have to check in with your ally. You have to check in with the ally pretty regularly.
Yeah, and
I think Lydia got so comfortable with Hai. She didn't even. She figured, oh yeah, he's working with all these big guys because he's gonna bring them in to work with us. But he wasn't. He's bringing them in for himself.
Right.
And she was now no longer needed. Right. So you want your allies to be close to you, and they can be fine. You don't want to be paranoid that they're gonna turn on you because that's a bad ally. But also, you don't want to be like, hey, you can go off and make other friends and forget about me in the process.
Yeah, checking in. I mean, they were all in groups together a couple times, though, but still, you didn't really see her and Hai go together and just kind of talk things out and whatnot, so.
Yeah, so that's one thing I think the one thing she did wrong is she really didn't manage. She let somebody else swoon her number one. And that's a problem.
Yeah.
It's right. You said you want to trust them that they're going to have your back, but you also want to check in more often than she probably did, I think.
Yeah.
And that's, he was willing to go rocks for her. Maybe he really wasn't. I don't really know.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, I don't know. It could have been for the drama.
Could have been. Either way. Or to get the number on his side, which was, he might have been bluffing, willing to go to rocks, which he probably was.
Yeah.
And that got the number on his side at least for one more day.
Right.
And then the Mike of it all, I don't really know what his deal is. Like, I don't know why he's, like, he seemed like he was really close to them too. Now he's kind of like not anymore, which is.
Close with who?
With like Hai. I mean, he
Hai
is.
And Lydia? Well, I mean, he is. He's a part of that just because of Jonathan, really.
Well, right, because he likes Jonathan. Jonathan's a big dude, and they're trying to keep the big dudes together, which I guess is smart.
Yeah.
But anyways, so I think that's what Lydia did wrong. I really think that she didn't, if the difference between Jonathan and, let's say, Lydia is Omer fought for Jonathan.
Yep.
Hai kind of fought for Lydia and then gave up.
He said his blanket statement that he will not vote for her and that he would go to rocks for her, but there's kind of a lot more people to vote, so you don't have that control anymore.
Right, for sure. So that's I think what Lydia did wrong. That's why she does right.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and talk about our top three. Oh, by the way, until Lydia.
Three.
Yeah, bottom three. Top three, bottom three. Bottom three, I had Lydia on this list here. Lydia I had at number 12. So nailed that shit.
Yeah.
So I had her. That was actually the first one that was spot on.
Mm-hmm.
There's some others that I've had. Have had my number 5 go out already. So I still have my number 1, 2, and 3 left. So that's exciting. My number 4, 5, and 5 are gone. But anyways,
this is like Deal or No Deal.
Exactly. pick a case. Open the case.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go ahead and talk about the bottom 3 now. And we'll start with no real particular order, but kind of in particular, I guess. Who's the bottom 3?
Tori.
Tori. Yeah, why Tori?
Because she made a really stupid comment, and I can't remember it now, to Jonathan's face, basically telling him
You're my
that,
biggest threat to win.
yeah, like, I'm voting you out tonight kind of thing.
She's like
a friggin' idiot who doesn't know how to shut her mouth and just play nice with people.
I really thought she was just like, that was taken out of context. Maybe it was still.
I don't think it
But it
wasn't
doesn't.
because she voted for him.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, maybe she was, just kind of, whatever. But who knows what the whole conversation was? But she.
I know the editing and stuff,
Yeah.
but the light that they're showing her in is in that light that she's just being a blunt person and making her seem like a really bad therapist.
Right. Well, it's funny too because she said, yeah, you're my biggest threat to win challenges. If I want to win challenges,
Yeah.
I can't have you here, basically. And then which is funny because she already had beat him in a challenge.
Right.
Even though it wasn't really.
To that I say, just because a guy's muscular doesn't mean that he's going to win all the challenges, because things aren't just muscle. It's finesse. It's all different things.
It's dexterity, all that.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing too is early, right at the merge. Most of the early merge challenges are endurance, dexterity, balancing.
I
I mean, right. I mean, if you remember, I remember Nick Majorano won the first individual immunity challenge, and then he didn't need it because Neil got pulled from the game. But usually, the big strong dudes, that season you had an NBA player, professional NBA player, he was out like first in the challenge, because it's those balancing and dexterity and stuff. Like if you're a big person, those are usually harder.
Yeah.
For you in those kind of challenges, even though you're strong,
Right.
you have a lot of body weight to hold,
right.
and that kind of stuff. But anyways, and it's usually the smaller women who win those challenges, which in Tori's case, right? So, I mean, it was dumb, and granted, she might be trying to pull off the Adam Klein a little bit, because Adam Klein, his season was very direct. He says, yeah, I think this person needs to go. Or he was really nice. He was, everybody loved him, but he kind of just said how he felt. And he wasn't hiding anything. He didn't really BS anybody. And the people appreciated that because they knew where he stood.
Maybe it'd be fine if she didn't just harp people all the time when she's wanting to know something and they don't want to answer. Are you sure? Well, answer my question. Why are you answering me?
Yeah.
I asked you a question. Can you answer me? Did you do this? Did it happen? Did it?
Well, that was like with the whole
Rockshore thing.
Well, yeah, but did you get a chance to
Yeah,
get
what
an extra advantage?
What happened on that? What happened? What happened? What
And
happened?
I forgot about this too. Omer couldn't vote this week too, which was another whole
Right.
huge thing. He was part of the Immune tribe, and he was trying to get everybody to flip onto Lydia, but he couldn't vote himself anyways, which was crazy. He saved Jonathan not being able to vote, which is crazy.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, Tori again, very much. They're showing her as like the very annoying little sister, very much like, hey, I want to know this, so tell me this now. Being very like, she has, I guess, when your only tool is a hammer, everything looks like a nail, and I feel like that's how Tori is. She's like, hey, this is what I want. This is what I'm gonna go get. And maybe it's probably worked for her in her career, because being a 25-year-old therapist, you probably had to fight hard to get to that spot as, a young female, whatever. So I get all that. It probably works for her in her real life. Being very direct.
But these people should be treating like her patients instead of her enemies.
Correct.
Don't
Exactly.
treat it like you're all competing for the same job. Treat it like you're someone that you're treating in your job.
And that's why Denise was one of the best players ever, because Denise did that. She was when Russell Swan was on her team, and he was a returning player, and he had a lot of issues because I showed you the episode when he passed out at a challenge because he was overdoing it.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Right?
Yeah.
And
they took him out.
they took him out. And the next season he came back, a couple of seasons later, and he had that still in his head, and he was a mess about it. And they had a guy who just quit smoking, and it was a mess about it. And she was able to talk to them and be like, hey, I understand what you're going through, blah blah, and was that therapist to them. And that's why she was a fit, a little older, but a fit lady who was decent in the challenges.
Yeah.
But she was the oldest person on the tribe, oldest lady on the tribe. So you'd think she'd go early, but she went. She was gonna be in the final two of that tribe, and ended up going all the way to the end of the game and winning.
And she's a comfort to everybody else. So they
Of course, and because she was a therapist, she was listening to them. She didn't talk much; she just listened, and then was able to use that information later. But that's what Tori should be doing, and that's why I was hoping that she was gonna be Denise, but she's not, and it's really tough. It's really, and I'm disappointed. She's at the merge, great. She's probably not the world's biggest threat now because of all the stuff that's moved around. With the 8 kind of imploding, there are probably gonna be hurt feelings, people going after each other, and Tori might kind of be able to slip in the background.
Maybe I don't agree, but you can finish your statement.
What I think I'm gonna say but, and I'm gonna say what you're gonna say.
I really don't think there's gonna be hurt feelings because the only person that would be hurt is High, and he voted for Lydia, so I don't see the hurt feelings.
Maybe I don't know.
Unless they're mad at Roxbury for taking the immunity part away,
Yeah, I
but
don't
nobody
think so.
was even mad about that.
No, they
so.
weren't. They weren't. And I think so. Either way, I think if it does help anybody, obviously Chanel was a target and Tori was a target, and if it does go the way I said it might go, where they're fighting with each other, arguing, and all that stuff, it might not help. It might help Chanel because Chanel knows enough to shut up. Tori does not know that.
No, she doesn't.
She doesn't know enough to shut up. So like if they're all shooting arrows at each other because they're mad at each other, Tori would not be smart enough to sit back for 2-3 votes, let them take each other out, and then reassert herself.
Yeah.
They're gonna be arguing with each other, and Tori's gonna say, "Yeah, you all suck," and then they say, "Wait,
Yeah.
let's just give it to her then."
Yeah.
Right? I think that's what's gonna happen.
No, I think so.
I think she's not. Doesn't have the ability to sit back enough.
Yeah.
And especially, you got to know when to pull back a little bit. And so many players don't have that skill. And Tori definitely doesn't have that skill. I know she seems to know the game decently well, but knowing the game well and being able to play the game well is very, very different.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I don't think she's playing very well.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I'm actually surprised she made it this far. There's been 3 votes where she's been a target at all 3 votes, and she's still here.
Got lucky.
So yeah, she's gotten very, very. She made some moves, to get herself out of the spots, but for the most part, she's gotten very, very lucky
Yeah.
for sure. I don't want to say it's all luck, but a lot of it is.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and talk about number 2 on the bottom 3.
High.
Go ahead.
Oh, you don't vote for your alliance that you said you're gonna go to Rocks for.
Yeah, so he's known Lydia the entire time, and he flipped on her. He's known Jonathan for 5 minutes. He's known Mike, but you're making a new alliance with I guess Omer and Jonathan and all them. He said he'd be willing to go to Rocks for Lydia and then voted for her.
Yeah.
And I get it. Maybe the people who he's aligned with now, maybe those people are like, oh, he's on our side. He was willing to throw. Maybe they look at it as I'm way better than Lydia was because he was with Lydia and he voted her out.
I'll protect
for me.
him more. So yeah.
Right, or like
sacrificed her for me.
Yeah, he sacrificed her for me. He likes me more. Maybe that's what they're thinking.
Yeah.
If they're smart, they're thinking he got rid of his number 1 ally. Why would he keep me? And that's why I would think he should be in a bad spot.
I always fall to the side of paranoia when it comes to the show because
100%.
that's everybody's gonna be paranoid.
They should be.
Why? So I guess offset thought with everything. Why would you want to put yourself on a show when you're just constantly paranoid of people talking about you behind your back? I could never subject myself to that. But anyways, continue.
If I'm him, I vote for Marianne.
Yeah. Because even if he didn't vote for Lydia, she still would have been gone. It wouldn't have been his responsibility. It wouldn't have fallen on him. But now he's a part of it.
And he could say, I'm voting for Marianne in case she doesn't play Riddle.
Yeah.
And nobody would have been like, okay, yeah, we know you can't vote for Marianne. We love. Nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying screw you for voting for Marianne, right? Nobody cares.
No, that was kind of an option anyways. He just said they're keeping her here for now, so he should have did that just to save face for himself.
100%. And he said because if you're willing to go to Rocks for your ally, and then you vote for it, again, maybe they take it as wow he liked us more than he liked Lydia. Mm-hmm. But if I'm out there, I'm like he was with her from day one. He stabbed her in the back. What's he gonna do for me for somebody's known for 5 minutes?
I mean, I'm sure everybody's going to say the latter, that why would you stab your person in the back? Like, I think people are going to see through it a little bit.
Depends on how he plays it. He's been a smart player. He's played really well so far. He's been in the top 3 for pretty much the whole season so far. So he's been smart. He's doing well. And if he can stroke the egos of the people he needs to, perhaps he'll be okay.
Yeah.
But if from my perspective, I'd be pissed. I'm like, this guy, we used him for that vote and that's fine. Now that Omer's got his vote back. Or Drea. Drea had 2 votes,
true, yeah.
so she could have used it if she needed to for Omer, but she didn't need it. Anyways.
Yeah, no, for sure. I don't know.
I don't like the move. I think it was a bad move.
Yeah, no, I think it was a bad move too.
Even if he wants to form that line, say, look, what's the votes between Marianne and Lydia?
Yeah, I guess I'm not disappointed how things have gone so far of who's still in it, but
Correct.
Don't make yourself look like that on the episode where you say you're not voting for her at all, and then all of a sudden it's like, all right, I guess. And I guess I gotta vote for her and go along with everybody else because they're all voting for her, and I'm not going to protect my number one.
Yeah, it's I don't like it. I mean, again, they could look at it as he went with me over them because he likes me more. But I would look at it as he knew her since day one and he voted her out. He's known me for 5 minutes. He's definitely not gonna show me any loyalty.
Made a big deal about going to Rocks, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I'm voting for her instead of just voting for a random person. So it's not your responsibility.
He could have thrown a vote on Marianne and even said, "Hey, let's split between Lydia and Marianne," and he could have at least voted for Marianne to save face.
Yeah. It could have been much simpler than what he did, and I can't wait to hear his explanation or if he hides it.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think Lydia got like 7 of the 12 votes. I think.
Yeah.
So
if everybody else owns up to who they voted for, then it's obvious who he voted for.
Yeah. And I said, and if you're his ally, you're like, oh, great, he's with us. He voted with us. But you're all in the back of your head, you're like, but is he?
Yeah.
Because if somebody else gives him a better offer, what's he going to do?
So side note with this, I always started to think, why would you put yourself in a show that makes you so paranoid? Like, you're paranoid about people talking about you behind your back. Why would you put yourself through that? I don't like walking into a room thinking someone's talking about me on national TV on an island with random people. Yeah. But that's just me.
For sure. Let's go ahead and talk about the number 3 person here in the bottom 3.
Roxroy.
Yeah. Why Roxroy?
I mean, he changed time. He's a very abrupt person, very, I guess, gruff. He's direct, but he's also not able to relate to people, or he's not very a soft person with other people. Being a stay-at-home dad, you think he'd be, I don't want to say fun. He's very rigid. He's kind of military rigid, even when it comes to being with these people.
I feel like he had military experience.
Probably, I'm sure. But usually you soften up a little with your children. You would hope, but not necessarily.
Yeah, it feels like a drill sergeant with his kids. I feel
right,
like.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I don't like... I put him in the bottom 3 for 2 reasons. One, because I hate the twist. And he was, the beneficiary of the twist, and the twist is kind of all about him this week. And I hate the twist, so by proxy, I have to not like him this
Yeah.
week. 2, they don't usually do military music when people are talking for the winner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he was talking to them and they had the. Sorry, Selena, I didn't mean to wake you. But yeah, that's not somebody who has a great social game.
Yeah.
And I just think he's in an alliance with Drea's keeping him in there. He says he's rock solid.
Yeah.
Romeo over that, but it's like if they do go to the end, let's say those 3 go to the end. Jonathan, Omer, and Lindsay go to the end, or the Green Alliance, which was Hai, now Lydia's gone, and Mike.
Right.
Hai's winning of that pair. Jonathan's winning of the orange pair, orange trio, and Drea's winning of the blue trio.
Yeah.
Right, and the reason that it's like you want to understand one thing to understand for Roxroy, let's say and he really didn't get a chance to bond with anybody of the bigger dudes. He's a bigger dude. He should work with the bigger dudes. It makes sense for him.
Yeah.
But one thing to keep in mind is what Boston Rob said. He goes, perception is one thing. Understanding how you're perceived is another thing, and understanding how people think you perceive is another thing, right? So if you're in an alliance with somebody, what's in it for them to keep you, and what's in it for you to keep them?
Yeah.
Right? And what's in it for Drea to keep Roxroy? Oh, she can beat him easily. She'll easily beat him.
Right.
So why, so when you're in an alliance with somebody who can easily beat you, and that they're keeping you around because they can easily beat you, maybe get out of the alliance.
Yeah, but the biggest thing is, though, making it not known to the other person that you think that you can beat them, or making them feel like you can beat them.
And I don't think he knows that, because I think he's too arrogant to see that.
Well, yeah, obviously.
He thinks, everybody thinks they're playing the greatest game ever.
Right.
I don't remember, what was it? Ghost Island. Mm-hmm. Right, Ghost Island, and there was that girl, Chelsea. She had like purplish hair, whatever.
So.
She was the ultimate purple edit person. Like, she went to the final 7 and got voted out, and she wasn't on the show because everything that she said in her confessionals were like, I'm playing a good game, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and it just didn't align with what was happening in reality. It didn't align with what was happening in reality, right? So like, people all the time are like, I'm playing such a good game, blah blah blah, and it's just not true. So they can't put you on the show.
Everyone's always going to perceive themselves unless they can admit it. But most people be like, I'm awesome. What are you talking about? I'm doing perfect.
Yeah. And
it's not true.
And because they're only seeing things the way they see it. They're not seeing it the way anybody else sees it, and that's a big problem. I think Roxford would say he's playing a great game, but he's not playing well socially. He hasn't really made any strategic moves. He's okay in challenges.
I don't even know if he'd say he's playing a great game. I feel like he'd say, I am playing a game that is me. I'm playing a direct game, and that's who I am, and that's why I'm playing it that way, basically.
Sure, that's fine.
Yeah.
And Mike will be saying the same thing.
Yeah.
But you'll win the game that way. You don't. And if they don't know that, that's a problem. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, that's why I might have Mike here. Or that's why I mean Roxford here. Mike could be same thing. I had actually Roxford go a little further than Mike, but they're both pretty similar people.
They are, yeah.
So, of course, to wrap up here, we'll talk about the top 3 left in the game. My predictions have been kind of all over the place, too, by the way, which was kind of weird. I was just noticing. I had my number 18 still up. My number 17 is gone. So, number 17 is gone. I've had some that were really close, right? I mean, I had some that were way off.
Yeah.
And this week was perfectly on, 12. So if I continue getting it completely right, who's next?
I don't know. I don't know your list. Jonathan?
Yeah.
Nope, you're wrong. Sorry. Bubble is busted.
So I can see it.
Oh, I know. I'm sure I can see it too. I just don't want it to be.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. I know, just looking on the Facebook pages of the Survivor, like 2 of the most popular people in the game right now by the fans are Marianne and Jonathan, which is crazy.
I can see it being Marianne just because of how she is and who she is, but yeah.
And not for nothing too, the first time they had Canadian didn't go that well was Tom Laidlaw. He was fine, but he
the hockey player.
Yeah.
I don't love Tom just because he's Canadian.
I know.
And a hockey player.
Yeah, and of course, and he was a recruit and everything like that. His first ever one, and he wasn't a very good player, but he was a nice guy. He was cool.
Yeah.
I liked him.
Yeah.
But the Canadians since then have been dominant. I mean, Shan last season.
Yeah.
Erica.
Right.
Omer. Marianne is fun. And I think
I thought he's from Kitchener. Oh, Kitchener, Ontario. Yeah.
And there's one other one too. There's one other Canadian there right now. 2 I think who's still in the game. There's still 3 Canadians left in the game.
Was there? I didn't think there was more than 2.
Yeah,
that was just the 2.
3, I think. That's bad. It's a bad podcasting. Looking up where they're all from right now, but I think
at least you have it written down.
Yeah, I do.
I think there's just 2.
I swore there was a 3rd one.
Nope.
Really? I swore.
Saw Ontario.
Couple Ontarios, yeah. All right. Either way, so we'll talk about who is top 3 this week. We'll start with number 3.
Jonathan.
Yeah, Jonathan. Why Jonathan? Why is he in the top 3?
Because he's so likable, but it also makes him a threat. So he could be in the bottom or the top, really, in my view. But he's likable. He takes care of everybody. A team player kind of thing.
Yeah, he's likable. That's why he's likable, because he can provide and like that too. And he's a nice guy and like that. His social game is way better than I thought it was gonna be. I thought he'd be kind of pick things up, put things down kind of guy, but he's definitely there's more to him.
Right.
And I like what Mike said. He goes, "Who would have thought that the New Jersey guy and the Alabama guy would be getting along so well?"
Right.
And that's true.
Right. Exactly.
And Jonathan is he's what you think about Southern hospitality and the plight and all that stuff from the South. He's a Southern gentleman. He really is. And he's got the hair and like that, so he doesn't look like that, but he is. He's really a nice guy, and he seems to be doing, a good job. Obviously, he needs that other person there, which we'll talk about. That Omer there to keep him going, but he's a threat. But I think they're gonna keep him around at least a couple more votes because of the fact that they want that meat shield.
And he can provide.
But get him, get to the final 8. And then you can maybe get rid of him then. But he can provide, keep him around a little longer. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I know. It's fine. I just remember the one part of the episode where he basically just picks up his spear and just starts running towards the water to try and get a stingray. Like, dude is just all over the place trying to help and give people food, which I'm sure they appreciate.
Yeah, and I said, you let him get a couple more votes. Keep that meat shield at least a little bit longer. You don't want to get too close because he gets to the final 6 or 7. He can win some challenges, obviously.
Yeah.
He can, make fire or whatever, and then he's in the finals and he's beating you.
Right.
So you don't want you really gotta a guy like him. You really can't let it go much further than even if you want the meat shield.
Yeah.
Even if you want the meat shield, you can't let him go too far in the game.
Right. Yep.
So, but Jonathan's been a star of the season for sure. I can definitely see him playing again.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
What's next?
Number 2, Drea.
Drea. Why Drea?
I mean, she's also kind of blunt in a way, but she works well with other people, and I guess she doesn't BS people, and she really doesn't lie to their face about a lot of things. She's got also a good judge of most of the people there too.
No, for sure. I agree. I definitely agree. And she called the twist, which was crazy. That she knew that she called that. She's the leader of her alliance. So this is that her alliance is the one that prevails, goes to the end. She's winning the game.
Right.
And also, I mean, she's got a lot of. I mean, I probably should have made my winner pick. Honestly, she got color advantages. She's got, she's solid socially. Really likable socially. She's got, she's good in the challenges, and she's pretty strategic. She's got takes advantage of the twist and of the advantages and everything else. So, I do think she's a good player, and I don't know. We'll see how she ends up working out. But overall, I'm happy with how she's been playing, and I think she's set up, again, relatively well comparatively to other people.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Anything else?
I don't think so.
No, you think that's about it?
Yeah.
All right. Who's our player of the week this week?
Omer.
Omer, yeah, for sure.
I love Omer.
Yeah.
He's become my favorite. I told you he's my winner pick at this point because I didn't do anything from the beginning, but I like him.
You like his shirt?
I do love his shirt. Limu, Emu, and Doug.
Exactly. Exactly. The emo shirt. Yeah, I mean, he's great. Came in, kind of like, as well as, he kind of came out of nowhere and was like...
Came in like a wrecking ball.
Exactly. He came out of nowhere and just flipped. There were people talking about going after Jonathan. He came in and said, "No, we're not doing this." And they're like, "Okay."
Did he a freeze frame?
No.
Freeze frame.
Definitely not. Most definitely not. But yeah, he came in and just and changed the game. People were talking about going a certain way, and he just said, "Nope, we're doing this." Then they said, "Okay," and they jumped on board with it.
He rallied. If you want to talk about rally, he rallied.
No, for sure, 100%. And he's been really really good job. He's in a good strong alliance. I really like him. I really like Lindsay. I really like Jonathan. I really like that trio. I said it's one of the trios I would definitely wouldn't mind seeing go to the end for sure.
Yeah, I'd say with him, I feel like it's dangerous sometimes how people just tell their truth or like tell their lives all over. But I respect what he talks about on the show and everything and how he is and waiting till marriage and everything. And he's been with someone for 6 years, I think he said. At this point, like, okay, Omer, you better get engaged after the show and get married. But like, I like him. I respect him.
Yeah, he's a good guy, and I said I like him as well. Shan was my winner pick. She's kind of fallen off a little bit too.
Chanel.
Yeah, Chantel was the other one.
Yeah, I know.
That's why I keep getting confused. But yeah,
I can't say Shan.
I know Chanel. But yeah, I like Omer. He's done a really good job, and he's setting himself up well. Drea as well. My number 2 and number 3 are really setting up well. And number 1 not as much. But overall, like I said, I think, and I like Lindsay as well. She's doing well in Jonathan. It's really the thing is, how long will they let Jonathan stick around? Yeah, that's really the key. And if
he can win immunity and fly under the radar in some way, but he can't because Jeff always brings him up. So
yeah, for sure. It's we'll see how it goes. It's a lot of times these alliances jump back and forth one way to the next. So it's really you're gonna be in a good spot one week and bad the next week. But he definitely took control of the vote and said this is what's happening, and obviously for whatever he had to do, he took. And I'm giving him some. I know Jonathan gets some credit for it, Mike, whoever, but I think some of the biggest credit you can give for having high flip out as number 1 ally from day one goes to Omer, I think.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Made other people make bad moves, I think, for their game. For the sake of him and Jonathan, and so Jonathan's been as number 1. I don't know. I said I think if him and Jonathan go to the end, I think at this point Jonathan wins, but Omer's been playing a good game too. He's been open, and it's
It just comes down to the jury, though, because Omar could easily fight, like, I protected you the whole way, blah, blah, blah. But then it's, well, do you vote for him for being stupid and protecting and bringing Jonathan, or do you vote for Jonathan? And how interesting would it be if they went back into some of the old strategies of a Survivor that you've shown me, where what if Jonathan just keeps winning the immunities and, like, someone convinces him, like, to give up his necklace, to give up the immunity for someone else, and then they blindside him.
Mm-hmm.
How exciting would it be for you to see that?
It would be exciting. I think
that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, I think what Jonathan, I think they need to realize that as usually as it gets down to the final 7 and on, those are a lot more physical challenges, where the early ones are a lot more like the dexterity and that kind of stuff. So they really can't let him get too much farther.
Yeah,
they really can't. Even Omar has to realize that, like, if you let him get to the end, he's probably gonna win, even though he's your number one.
Mm-hmm.
And I said it's the jury. The jury always has different criteria, right? You're an idiot for letting him get to the end, or why would you vote him out? We liked him. It's like either way. They could be mad at you for making a good move, or they could be mad at you for not making a good move.
Yeah, it's all based on personality and person and
perspective.
Else.
And I think one thing about Omar is that I thought they liked Deshaun. I thought Deshaun would be more popular than he was last year.
No, it fell apart towards the end.
Yeah,
that's why.
For sure. I think Omar. I do see a little bit of Deshaun with him, which is a little bit concerning. But I think Omar is likable enough that if Jonathan by some he slips and falls on a banana peel and gets voted out, I can see Omar being still someone who is the jury doesn't feel bad giving them money to. I think.
Yeah.
And if 2 Canadians win in a row, I swear to God. Other than that,
that's funny.
Anything else to add?
I think we have talked enough about this episode.
Yeah, we're almost an hour into it, so let's wrap it up here. It was fun. It was a good, best episode of the season, though, for sure.
Good.
I hope they're more like this. I said that some seasons have a really good pre-merge, some have a really bad pre-merge, some have a good post-merge. Usually the merge itself is pretty exciting, and then it could go get better or worse from there.
Oh, you mean Survivor? I thought you meant this episode of your podcast because I'm here. It's wonderful now.
It is. 100%. That's definitely what I was saying.
Yeah.
That's definitely what I was saying. With Survivor, the pre-merge can be it can be kind of slow. Because you're making alliances, and if there's not a lot of swaps and everything, there's not a lot of swaps and everything, it can get kind of direct and straightforward.
Yeah.
The problem, of course, and then the merge can be, if one alliance dominates the merge, then it's boring as well.
Picking everyone off.
Right. So I hope there's I don't like the fact that the producer are adding so much to it, but I do like that there's, I do want there to be not just a straight shot at the end, because it gets super boring.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
Kim and Boston Rob seasons were great because we're 2 great winners, 2 of the best winners ever, Kim and Boston Rob. But they're boring seasons because they dominated the game. Nobody else was even close, and it was never like never even a thought anybody else was gonna win.
Yeah.
And it's like they're dominating the game, which is great. But I'd rather have a really good player play with other really good players and then win that season.
Yeah.
As opposed to a snooze fest. So, other than that. On that note, be sure to subscribe to us anything. You can like our Facebook page, facebook.com/Pavement Road Prod, Pavement Road Productions on Facebook. And I couldn't get productions.
Oh.
Bastards. Pavement Road Productions on Facebook. You can email the show, pavementroadproductions@gmail.com. Subscribe, share the post, tell your friends. We got a lot of stuff. Obviously, there's some stuff. If you subscribe to everything, we have one feed for all of our stuff. So if you some things that you're interested in, sports, politics, reality TV, just skip through those, but subscribe so you do get everything and you have your choice. Right? You rather have it, not need it, than need it, not have it.
Right.
All right. So subscribe to everything. You can get
Better
it all.
Safe than sorry, as everyone would say.
Exactly. So we'll hope to have Jessica back soon. You'll be hearing her on the sports show if you haven't heard it yet. If it's not out yet, by the time this comes out. But thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part of it. Share the post, tell your friends, and help spread the word.
The bird is the word?
Exactly.
Okay.
On that note, I'll talk to you soon. And until next time, I have nothing else for you, because the tribe has spoken.